local governments across the country.
I am called Odong Martin. I am 70 years old. I come from Naitakwai Parish, Nadunget Sub-County. This village is called Katanga. I knew about this siege money I don't remember very well the year, I think around 2013, 14 is when I heard about this siege program. We were gathered at Katanga village as the elders. They say they need elders from 60 years. So we were gathered, then I was part of the team who was identifying, because by then there were no IDs by then. So we were gathered together with the old women, said verification of years. When were you born? Then some of us were just, putting these events. I was born during the time of this, during the time of this, during the time of this, because for us, Karamojong, we identify the years through events. So that's how we need, then we said, okay, so-and-so is fit to be in this siege program, 60, because they said 60 above. So that's how I got it. The benefits actually, when it first came, because we were receiving, they told us we were receiving the first bunch of money, we received 25. These 25, we really were grateful, because for us to get the money, this 25 by then was very, it was good money. So I could buy, a kilo of sugar. I could get at least even call my friends to share. I think today we have got something, call some kwete. So, and then we can also get some meat by that time. So that's how I got this money. Then I was also selling a bit of petrol, no? I would get had it to get 1 jerrycan of petrol to sell.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV. It's time for The Real, and welcome back from that short break. Now, this morning we are looking at matters education. During that election season, during that week of elections, the Ministry of Education came out and confirmed the fact that schools must open on the 10th of February as opposed to the 2nd of February as it was supposed to be. And it's what we want to look at. How ready are the stakeholders? How much were they affected? How much was the school calendar affected? To have this conversation with us is Juma Mwamula, who is the General Secretary of the Uganda Private Teachers Union. But you can also be part of the show, 0709602592. Good morning, Mwamula.
A very good morning, my sister. Good morning to the management and Ugandans out there. I want to take the pleasure to thank you for the invite here and to thank the Ugandans out there who are now on set watching.
Indeed.
And again, allow me to congratulate especially the Ugandans who have been going through this electoral season.
Right.
His Excellency upon his re-election. For us in the workers' fraternity, I have my very own Sister Virunji Annette Ogana, the highest votes, my good brother Rakajala Linaitwe, Honorable Margaret Rabishija, our sister Fiona, who had a contestation but eventually had been confirmed.
Right.
And then Comrade Agaba, to you all a very big congratulations. Thank you for running a very successful race to the end.
Indeed. And a Happy New Year to you.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you too.
All right, you're welcome. Let's start off with how this change affects the whole calendar, education calendar, for this year.
I think the change from the earlier date to the new date of tennis was informed by this electoral season that we have been undergoing. First of all, since early this year, 15th, to date, we have been going through a series of elections. Even yesterday, we had elections for the youth MPs, and then elections for people representing army in the parliament. We still have upcoming elections for leadership at the sub-counties, I want to assume, which is yet to come. And in my view, these adjustments is in recognition of the fact that we have some children who, not children, but they must be students who also participate in the electoral process. Students who are of age to vote. But we also have teachers who are supposed to be teaching, and yet they have opportunity to participate in voting. So for purposes of giving opportunity to these people to exercise their freedoms of choosing their leaders, it was just very reasonable that adjustments can be done to allow the children to stay in areas where they vote from, to allow teachers also stay wherever they stay, they vote from, to be able to participate in this exercise. And for me, I think it was a very reasonable exercise, undertaking. The other very important thing to note, also that may speak to this adjustment, is the fact of the current educational approach that we are having. Previously, we were so much committed to covering that book content. You see, you have not done up to this page of this book, and therefore you are far behind the schedules, you are far behind. But right now, our curriculum is speaking to real life. Real life, including the participation in civic community duties like electoral processes. Real life in terms of participation into day-to-day living. I mean, how we are living in our homes. What are the activities there, and how involved is the learner into all these exercises. So therefore, making an adjustment that children continue to stay at home is another way of saying that we are extending the practical lessons for our learners from their respective homes.
All right.
I do not see anything missed. I only think that it was all well to allow political participation, civic participation, but also to allow that practical learning and other things. And therefore, to the learners, to the teachers, congratulations. Congratulations upon the end of the year. Congratulations upon now the new beginning term. And I want to invite my colleagues, the teachers who are about to start now, the real school work. That time has come for us to give in our all. Let us do whatever we can do. Teachers in private schools have always been doing the greatest. That history must not be killed. Let us go back and do our best, even when we are remunerated least. But at least we have proven the patriotism that is always sung by our leadership. Let's continue to do that as we appeal for the better.
Right. Was safety of learners one of the key reasons as to why the calendar was pushed from 2nd to 10th?
That can't be downplayed. First of all, in most of the places where we come from, especially in our villages, school setups, school environments have always been gazetted. Many of the school environments have been gazetted as voting areas. When you go to our villages, most of the polling stations are in the school compounds. So first, it was very important that learners had to give way for that electoral exercise. But also, since the beginning of this campaign, we have been having negative voices from some of us. I want to call them unreasonable Ugandans, giving a lot of threats that there is going to be a lot of havoc just by virtue of this electoral exercise. So in a way, there was a need to take maximum caution. Children are such vulnerable that when chaos comes their way, their defensive mechanism is really very low. And so if the country chose that they must be safeguarded, kept in their homes until this exercise is ended, it is quite a better thought. But in my own view, I would want to think that the most important consideration was the fact that most of the school premises are also electoral promises, and yet elections have their guidelines, how far you must keep away from the electoral zone, from the electoral area and other things. So true, safety, but also very importantly, allowing students to participate in the exercise, but also allowing space for electoral exercise to happen. I think those were very, very, very serious considerations.
Interesting. One would wonder why in the planning system that wasn't looked at in the earlier stages, because the Electoral Commission had already released the dates for voting. So that means whoever was responsible for the planning of the dates had to know that as early as possible, schools would open on the 10th of February as opposed to shifting it at the last minute. But let's look at the whole education sector altogether.
Maybe my sister Julie, before we go to the electoral, talking about planning, I think we have a big question in that area. Our government has has many ministries with the planning departments, parastatals and so on and so forth, but I think there is no proper coordination of interministerial planning systems. This is seen across. Like, for example, now education had its own calendar, electoral commission had its own calendar, eventually they realized they are crashing at a later stage, so this one has to issue a statement that we are doing adjustment. That is speaking to the fact that when electoral commission was perhaps doing its planning, there was no close communication and discussions with the planners in Ministry of Education. But that also speaks to so many other things, and it's a lesson we must take. Lately I've been moving around and I see a number of good constructions, road constructions happening. But I want to bet you, my sister, that even sometimes before those road constructions are ended, you see cuttings right in the middle of those roads, people trying to put either internet cables, either water pumps, and then you're like, really? Must we do it this way? Hardly a month and we are destroying what we have invested in to come and do something else, as if people did not have opportunity to speak to each other, that when you're making a way, make perhaps provisional pipes for anybody who want to put internet cables to make sure he has space. So we have a problem with that, and I think it's a big lesson for Uganda, for the government really to take a note and see how they can integrate for us to have effective interministerial, interagency planning arrangements.
And even just the awareness, I think, if you ask me, thinking about it, if the Electoral Commission released the calendar, then whoever is responsible for the planning of the education calendar would take note that, oh, if those are the dates, let me plan accordingly. That's how I would look at it as, but seeing as I do not operate in any government office from that side of the cabinet, perhaps there are things I can't know or tell. But this change of dates definitely did not only affect primary school level, but the whole school system.
Across the educational system.
Yes, the whole educational system. And for universities, indeed, it was affected quite a lot, given how semesters operate. Now you'd wonder how the semester, this could be, I think, second semester for the new year of particular students at university. If it's year one, it was last in August, first sem, this is second sem, ought to have started already. And now the clash is going to be with university students starting, primary students starting at the same time. Don't you think that will affect schedules and the syllabi time are aligned and planned?
Definitely it may affect, because across from P1 to university levels, people have planned content of what must be covered at a particular time. But I think as teachers, as lecturers, as people who are facilitating education, we have learned on how we can cover, especially on lost time. So for serious schools out there, for serious universities, tertiary institutions, and all schooling institutions out there, there is an approach, there is a way. Because we have missed whichever days that we have missed, but it has really been worth it. You see, the education, the good education that we are looking forward to, and everything is all hinged on the leadership. And therefore, giving time to ourselves to have the leadership who are going to steer us for the next 5 years was something very, very, very important. All we have missed is a space of about 1 week, because ideally education schedules, I think, was supposed to start on 2nd, so it was pushed by a week. So that 1 week can really be compensated. I know the teachers out there, the facilitators out there can manage that, and they are going to manage that. So we cannot cry about that 1 week space Even then, for example, in universities, sometimes when students are starting, they almost have a whole week ahead of orientation or that kind of laxity, including schools, especially public schools. It's always in private schools where it is serious business from day one, and sometimes they even want to start earlier before the official date. But overall, we are saying, well, we lost the time, but it was worth it. That is one important thing. And the other thing is that we have opportunity to cover up for that time. Gladly, for these regular schools, apart from the universities, it is coming in the first term. So really, we have it. We shall have the opportunity to cover up whatever was supposed could have been missed in this short time, and therefore our children will not miss. But the other very important thing that we do not need to miss is what we earlier said, that you see the schooling curriculum has also fairly changed, and now it is speaking to the learners to learn by participation, to learn by doing, and part of the doing is that civic belonging, including the civic obligations, those societal roles, and so on and so forth. So giving them opportunity to go and participate in voting, those who do not vote to have opportunity to see how voting is done, have opportunity to see how declarations are done, the manner it has been done lately, including those who are saying we have been cheated, we have been this and that. But for them to be able to know that is something that I hope is a learning process. And I want to tell you that it is even going to be a center of educational discussions in schools, this electoral exercise here.
Right.
At the university level, across, it's going to be a topic. Yeah,
of discussion, which is a good learning experience in line with practicability. Let's look at the system of manning, how we man systems here in Uganda. Many a times when you hear conversations from people who have been exposed to education abroad or who live in life abroad, they'll tell you every minute counts. It does not matter what's happening, that life is so fast-paced. And those who do education from abroad will tell you that in Uganda we're on a chill. We tend to be a bit laxed in how we operate. We are so relaxed. And on the other side, everything is fast-paced. Be it education, it's way more intense than how we take it here. And one would think of the time wasted when someone was planning in line with 2nd February, and that's a whole week gone. How best do you think we can align our mindsets altogether from the root of the system, not just this incident, but from the root of the system, to appreciate the value of time, that even if it's a week, right from childhood, that even if it's a day lost, a lot is lost and it can never be recovered?
First of all, our educational system has been built on the history that was planted into us by the people who colonized us. And so previously we have been priding in that schooling and the scores that are aimed to make us better servants of our masters. It is just very lately that we are seeing a shift in that curriculum focus to now a new curriculum focus. A new curriculum focus that speaks to us as Uganda, to us as a nation. A new curriculum focus that is having an eye on what is happening in my village and how can that be tamed into a better future. Previously, we were proud to learn about the Canadian prairies. Whether they exist or they do not, we don't know. But this is where we are putting our focus. Right. Today, somebody who comes from Jinja has opportunity to put his focus on the sugarcane growing in any nearby village in Jinja, and how that can contribute either to economic development or to change of society lives around there. So for me, there is that problem. Systematically, there was that problem that our education has been rooted from that old history of domination, where we are supposed to be servants, to be dominated by alien people. So the efforts of a shift from that history to a new paradigm is something that we must first of all proudly appreciate. That we are moving away from that. Actually, at that time, it was even very, very, very crucial. Should you even miss one day, you will have missed a lot, because there was that packed content. As of today, even when I am here in the studio and I'm a student, I am taking a lesson. So that is why I am saying that we do not have to cry as if we have missed so much.
Right.
Our children staying in their homes is in itself now a learning, is in itself
Learning
a lesson that can even be examined. Them taking this week to see what is happening in the political arena of Uganda, to see the politics that is going around them is in itself lesson, which can even be considered as academic lesson and even examined. So we do not need to cry about any time lost.
Right.
We have only lost time in classroom setup, but we have not lost any time in terms of learning, because learning has now been shifted to the other predetermined content of learning, details and particulars of Napoleon, to now the real life of what is happening around us. And what has held us away from school related to what is happening around our lives. So for me, there is nothing to cry about as a loss. We have been learning. Our children only needed to be tamed to appreciate that whereas they were not in the presence of their teachers, they were not in the confines of their schools, they were learning. And part of these experiences are even going to constitute their examination, especially for those who want to learn for purposes of examination. You see? Yeah.
Right.
So
Now let's get into some of the comments coming through that we will be also speaking into. Good morning, Uganda. This is Aaron Spice, Tata Scott, watching you live from Zombo District. I want to know why the Ministry of Education and Sports set the date for children going back on the 10th of February, and yet the day will be on a Tuesday instead of a Monday. Will Monday be a public holiday?
okay.
Please confirm that.
I do not want to speak for Minister of Education. I only want to acknowledge that severally, and in our culture, schools have been opening on a Monday. It is a surprise that this time around, they set tennis as the opening date, and which tennis, which is not a Monday, instead is a Tuesday. The explanation can better be rendered by the spokesperson or by the minister authorities.
Right.
But in my own view, all these adjustments, we are speaking, in my imagination, we are speaking to allowing electoral exercise to end. Smooth ending of electoral exercise. So whichever date the electoral exercise is ending, there has to be a space for them to imagine that now children have to move, students have to move from their places of stay as of currently, now to the schools. So perhaps 10th, Tuesday, whichever day was chosen in that spirit, that we have to allow them to participate, but also be able to move to the schools for the schools to eventually start.
Good morning, I'm Kasim from Boyale. Will UNEB examination dates also be extended? This is Kasim asking that question.
UNEB examination dates in as maybe the PLE dates that will come at the end of this year and so on and so forth. I can't determine that. Like I'm saying, some of those are good questions to be put to the official spokes authorities of those institutions. But one thing is UNEB really schedules are a little bit far as of now, especially for this year. And the other thing I have also just noted, and we have overemphasized here, is that whereas we want to believe that we have missed a lot, but truly we may have not missed. Because the issue is, the schooling style now, the educational style now has shifted from the classroom concentration, from your concentration of receiving from your teacher, to now self-learning, which is only facilitated by your teacher. Now this whole week we have not been in the presence of our teachers to facilitate, but at least we have been in the presence of our leadership, our parents, our communities. And I want to tell you, Mr. Kasim and others out there, that whatever our children are going through now, let them take a keen interest. It's going to be a central issue of discussion, of learning in their schools, right from primary up to university levels. These are going to be centers of learning.
Good morning, our dear presenters. Concerning the education sector, I think it was authentic for the Ministry of Education and Sports to tarry the opening date to 10th February due to my views below. Some schools were and still used as polling centers, the threatening words from other people, to give room for some children to exercise their right to vote. And I think if they exercise their right to vote, I don't think they fall under the category of being called children. They're students.
Because they are students.
Yes. The 1 week isn't too much for the teacher to compensate. I send my regards to caring directors, Mr. and Mrs. Sebagala. of Paradise Junior School in Sagu. Thank you, Ronnie, for being
I think
on the
Mr.
show.
Ron is speaking right what we have just been discussing here. The consideration that most of these schools are centers for electoral exercise, the view that even learners in these schools are also people of age who should be participating and their right must be respected for them to have involvement, and also the fact that now children take a practical bit of the learning of what is happening. These electoral exercises are happening in our homes. Sometimes it is in people's compounds, in the nearest trading centers around us, at the schools where our children go. So they are seeing, they are at home watching the results, the electoral results as they are being relayed by their respective returning of. All those are learning issues, the cries the politicians are putting forward. Those who are coming to us, the politicians who are coming to us to tell us how much they are committed for Ugandans.
Right.
And now when anything bad happens around their results, they are crying about their positions. You see, Salimu Saleh, you even come for my position. Such voices are learning reflections for our children. I mean, are these leaders as true as they claim to us? Or they are only speaking to us how nationalistic they are only when they want our support, but truly inside them, it is about their positions. We have seen them over the TVs putting forward these voices. So to me, it is a lesson. It is only a lesson outside classroom setup.
Right. I'm Karuhanga. Good morning, Uganda. I'm Karuhanga, and my question is, why 10th February, which is a Tuesday, was Tuesday? What's happening on Monday 9th? Thank you. I think he spoke into that. Seeing as he's not from the Ministry of Education, he cannot speak as much with an absolute answer. Then Kasim, I think your question was answered as to UNEB dates being extended, being as Wamula is not from the Ministry of Education. He definitely cannot speak directly with absolutity. He can only speak with his own assumption as someone who views these events as they come through. He is the General Secretary of the Uganda Private Teachers Union, and we're having a conversation on schools reopening on the 10th of February. How ready are stakeholders? Let's begin to roll this conversation out of the way, but speaking to a parent's mind, how do you think parents were affected positively, negatively, and how ready do you think a parent is or should be for 10th February?
Well, the new changes in our, especially curriculum, have not been so much pronounced to a common parent out there. Indeed, up to now, even people have difficulties in interpreting results, assessment results of their learners, and so on and so forth. So in a way, some parents could consider this as something that has affected them. You see, I was planning, our children should have been back in a week before, but now it has been, all those sentiments must be there. But like we said earlier, we should not take this for a loss, we should take it for a learning point. And so as parents, we should be there to facilitate our children to take the essential lessons from this exercise. Because even then, in some cases, some of what has been happening could end up being examined in these children's educational programs. The other thing I want to say is that possibly there has never been enough time for parents to prepare. The new term that we are yearning for is going to come with the cries of money. Sometimes the schools want us to pay fees to zero balance. Others have already increased the school fees and so many other things. I want to urge the parents out there, first of all, establish direct communication with your schools. I mean, speak your positioning. Where you are unable, try to engage and engage as much as possible. But the very, very important thing that can help us from the pressure, the school fees pressure and the hassles, is the issue of considering schools of your affordability. Sometimes we are driven by the pressure of society around us. When I see Julie's children are going to a very prominent school, is where I also want to take mine, either in a way to match her or whatever. And now for some mothers out there, it is about my child must go to the most expensive school. Above all that, I want to encourage ourselves as parents that let us focus on schools that we can afford.
Right.
Go to such a school whose school fees you can finally pay with ease. Because schooling journey is not about just covering this one term. You may have the 1 million, the 4 millions to pay for this one term, but think through P1 to P7, senior 1 to senior 6 and all that. And therefore, don't overstretch to what you can't sustain. Where you know it is too high, start low. If things get better, you can get wherever you want to do. The other very important reflection is, especially to us who have these big pressures, we have learned from the practical lives of many of the people around us, including those who are very successful. I mean, normally their beginnings have also been a little humble. Look at many of these people when you ask about where they went through in their educational system. Somebody will mention of a primary school you have never heard about. Somebody will mention of a low secondary school you have never mentioned, you have never heard about until it gets to Makerere. So the issue is that UPE school near to your homestead, don't underrate it. Even when it seems not to be doing so well, just put your interest as a parent, because parents have even a legal mandate and obligation in the contribution of education. Just put your efforts into how best that primary school next to you can better perform. There is a platform for parents' participation. There is even a parents' committee that is established purely to oversee. So for you who think that the nearest cheap school around you can't serve your child, the issue is just put your efforts, your trust in there. Put your participation, start demanding for the presence and for work of that teacher who is on a payroll, getting a government salary, but comes at his own time and leaves at his convenience. Demand for his stay because the salary is coming, and you have that right. Demand for effective participation from that headmaster who only come to hang his coat in the office and disappears, only appear at school maybe 2 days in a week. Demand his presence. You have that obligation, you have that right. And when you demand, when you assert yourselves, eventually that school that you are underlooking can turn into a better school, can be able to better serve your children, and so we can get the best that we're all looking forward from our children.
Right.
So let us focus on, first of all, taking our children back. There are so many communities that are keeping children at home without attending schools, even when we have these UPE schools. That must also be one very serious thing. As the parents, as now new leaders who have been elected and those who are outgoing, please take efforts to ensure that school-going children must be in school. Those who are not at school at the time of opening, we must question, we must put our involvement. Why are you not at school?
Right.
Sometimes people have those petty excuses. I don't have books. You really look at such as very small excuses to keep somebody out of school, and is a juvenile or so young. So let us be participatory into this process for us to have the best.
Right. Thank you very much, Juma Mwamula. He is the General Secretary of the Uganda Private Teachers Union, and he's been speaking with us as we've looked at the schools reopening on the 10th of February and how ready stakeholders are, teachers, the Ministry of Education, parents as well. But just for you to keep in the know and plan better, especially as a parent or even as a student, you should know that indeed schools are opening on the 10th of February, which is a Tuesday, and Term 1 ends on 1st May 2026, and then Term 2 will begin on
which is a public holiday.
I know, right? Yes. Term 2 will begin on 25th May and end on 21st August 2026. Term 3 will begin on 14th September and end on 4th December 2026. A total of 260 days spent at school. That is for pupils and students. But also keep in mind that S1 students, those who are P7 candidates, were P7 candidates receiving their results tomorrow and will be now S1 students, will be starting their S1 term on Monday, 16th February 2026. And those who were S4 candidates waiting for their results and thereafter will become S5 students will be starting school on Monday, 23rd February 2026. Now that you know the calendar, plan better as a parent, plan better as a guardian to the student. And as a student or pupil, it's something to also consider. Look into the calendar, plan better for your education, and thrive at the end of the day no matter the conditions that try to oppose your success. For now, it's a good morning. Good morning, Uganda does continue, and we'll be right back in just a bit. Good morning.
Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't go.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules, plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
The Senior Citizens Grant under the Social Assistance Grants for Empowerment SAGE program is Uganda's social protection flagship program, providing regular, predictable, and reliable direct income support to older persons. Since inception in 2010, the SAGE program has positively impacted beneficiaries' livelihoods, contributing to the overall national socio-economic transformation. The government of Uganda has continued to fulfill its commitment to the expansion and sustainability of the SAGE program, ensuring income security, dignity, and improved basic standard of living for older persons in all local governments across the country.
I am Kolodong Martin. I am 70 years old. I come from Naitakwai Parish, Nadunget Sub-County. This village is called Katanga. I knew about this siege money I don't remember very well the year, I think around 2013, 14 is when I heard about this siege program. We were gathered at Katanga village as the elders. They say they need elders from 60 years. So we were gathered. Then I was part of the team who was identifying, because by then there were no IDs by then. So we were gathered together with the old women, said verification of years. When were you born? Then some of us were just, putting these events. I was born during the time of this, during the time of this, during the time of this, because for us, Karamajong, we identify the
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again. My name is Joan N. Murunji. Welcome to Business here on Good Morning Uganda. In case you have just joined us, it is, Thursday, the 29th of January 2026. And of course, we are almost ushering in the weekend. But back to business. And when I say business, I mean, what are the markets holding as we speak? How are the forex rates standing? We are going to be into that at this very time. And of course, starting off our corporate news is Stanbic Bank that has unveiled a new lending facility dubbed Oli in Charge, a strategic digital initiative aimed at enhancing economic growth and promoting financial inclusion. Now, the 2-month campaign targets the education sector, coinciding with the reopening of schools. Let's have a look at this financial inclusion report.
The newly launched lending and financial empowerment campaign seeks to expand access to affordable financing for both salaried and non-salaried individuals.
At the end of the day, each one of us is trying to solve something in our own individual lives. And I believe this is a great opportunity to consolidate your many loans and take them out in a lower priced, sizable loan that you can spread for lower repayments in a typical month. I think that's the real benefit that we're trying to offer Ugandans, to say you can get more and pay less. That's really the message. You can get more money, pay less every month, and live more comfortably.
Most of our clients will get up to 17% and pay that loan, and we even increased our period, our tenor, within which you can pay, so that you're not, choked, up to 120 months.
According to the banker's assessment of the current economic ecosystem, these are financially challenging times, necessitating innovative approaches that enable easier and more affordable access to credit.
To get to know how much you can access, to know how much you can access from the bank, to start the process of accessing that financing does not require for you to have an account with us. So once that process has started and you've decided you want to actually get financing from us, we then also are able to either concurrently run the account opening process or open the account with you.
To ease access, the public can apply for the loan through Stanbic Bank's digital platforms, which provide instant responses and approvals. Customers without smartphones are also encouraged to apply using feature phones.
Do you know, right now, maybe one of us here in the room has been prescored for 200 million, and you can get it even on a feature phone, Kability. You can get 200 million. So we've done a lot of work to ensure that our clients can access these convenient products without having the hassle of bring this, bring the other, wait. So we've made that possible.
Under this blended lending facility, Stanbic Bank has reduced the interest rate to 17%, with borrowers able to access loans up to 350 million shillings, subject to minimal requirements. Abdul Nasir Lobama and Rogers Komagum, UBC.
And in the market updates about liquefied petroleum gas, Uganda is steadily building capacity to confront climate change, even as millions of households continue to rely on charcoal, a fuel that is cheap to access, increasingly expensive to use, and dangerous to both health and the environment. In Mbale City, a newly commissioned LPG facility is being presented as a part of the country's broader transition toward a cleaner energy and climate resilience. Here is the report.
For many households, cooking fuel remains one of the least discussed drivers of environmental degradation. Charcoal and firewood are still widely used across the country. They are relatively easy to access, but increasingly costly for households, and come with hidden dangers: indoor air pollution, respiratory illness, deforestation, and rising carbon emissions. In Mbale City, Eastern Uganda, authorities and private investors say the solution lies in building alternatives, not overnight, but through long-term infrastructure. The commissioning of the new liquefied petroleum gas filling and storage plant marks a step in that direction. Officials said the facility is designed to bring clean cooking fuel closer to households, schools, hospitals, and small businesses, reducing reliance on charcoal while strengthening supply and safety.
Honored to join you today to commission the new liquefied petroleum gas filling and storage plant in Mbale City. This factory represents a landmark investment for Mbale and the Eastern Uganda region, advancing access to clean, modern, safe energy solutions for our communities.
The impact of firewood and the impact of charcoal to our environment, to especially our mothers and our sisters, the time they spend cooking, the fumes they're taking, and the health hazards that come with that. So I'm not going to repeat.
Fire safety is a growing concern in Uganda's rapidly expanding urban centers, often worsened by dense settlements and the use of unsafe cooking fuels. Developers of the plant say it has already supported emergency response during a recent industrial fire.
Biro Energy Uganda is proud to be a partner in the
Let us now look at the forex market, and of course starting off with the US dollar as of January 28, 2026 by Bank of Uganda. The buying price was 3,568.50 and the selling price rate was 3,578.50. By midday, the dollar bought at 3,601.23 and sold at 3,611.23. And by close of business, the dollar was going for 3,575.82 and sold at 3,585.82. The Great British Pound bought in at 4,924.97 and sold at 4,940.18, whereas the Euro bought at 4,277.39 and sold at 4,290.07. From the neighbors, the Kenyan shilling bought in at 27.69 and sold at 27.81. The Tanzanian shilling bought at 1.38 and sold at 1.41. And the South African rand bought at 224.99 and sold at 225.66. And of course, that brings us to the end of our business here on Good Morning Uganda. Coming up is the agenda with Julie. Thank you for accompanying us this morning. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General, to invest in taxation, when people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo, clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Booza Commissioner.
The Senior Citizens Grant under the Social Assistance Grants for Empowerment SAGE program is Uganda's social protection flagship program, providing regular, predictable, and reliable direct income support to older persons. Since inception in 2010, the SAGE program has positively impacted beneficiaries' livelihoods, contributing to the overall national socio-economic transformation. The government of Uganda has continued to fulfill its commitment to the expansion and sustainability of the SAGE program, ensuring income security, dignity, and improved basic standard of living for older persons in all local governments across the country.
I am Kolo Dong Martin. I am 70 years old. I come from Naitakwai Parish, Nadunget Sub-County. This village is called Katanga. I knew about this SAGE money in, I don't remember very well the year, I think around 2013, 14 is when I heard about this SAGE program. We were gathered at Katanga village as the elders. They say they need elders from 60 years. So we were gathered, and then I was part of the team who was identifying, because by then there were no IDs by then. So we were gathered together with the old women, said verification of years. When were you born? Then some of us were just, putting these events. I was born during the time of this, during the time of this, during the time of this, because for us, Karamajong, we identify the years through events. So that's how we need, and we said, okay, so-and-so is fit to be in this SAGE program, 60, because they said 60 above. So that's how I got it. The benefits actually, when it first came, because we were receiving, they told us we were receiving the first bunch of money, we received 25. These 25, we really were grateful, because for us to get the money, this 25 by then was very, it was good money. So I could buy, a kilo of sugar. I could get at least even call my friends to share. I think today we have got something, call some kwete. So, and then we can also get some meat by that time. So that's how I got this money. Then I was also selling a bit of petrol, no? I would get had it to get 1 jerrycan of petrol to sell in my shop. So that's how I could get this 25. Then eventually it went. Then we are supposed to get now by 2 months, that is 50,000. And then I said, I think it was a good move. So, and it was frequent, after every 2 months, we would get 50, every 2 months, then I would plan. Even with this money now, I would buy some books for my grandchildren, you see. That's how I began benefiting this money. And when it is time for cultivation also, I would take two people to the garden, because I'm unable to go to the garden to help my wife. My wife was not the beneficiary. So whenever I could get this money, I would also send people there to the garden to go and dig if it is time for digging, or weeding if it was time for weeding. I would also, if it is time for beginning to cultivate, I would buy seeds, yes, to go and plant. So that's how I benefited. First of all, the first challenge, in Karamoja here, the timing when this money is coming, it went on for 1 year when it was coming regularly, after 2 months, But when it went almost towards some end, then it delayed. We greatly thank the government, because for sure, as a person, I say this money, I have not gone to somebody's garden to work for it. This is really a kind of manner for us, the elders, to give ourselves, however small it is. We thank the government for that initiative.
This is a message from Expanding Social Protection, ESP, implementing the program under the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. ESP, better life chances for all.
In all these years, we emphasize 2 words, wealth and jobs, and we try to waken our people up to show them where wealth and jobs come from.
The Parish Development Model, PDM, is a bold initiative that is reshaping Uganda's rural economy. By allocating 100 million shillings to each parish annually, PDM empowers households by unlocking opportunities for wealth creation.
This program will be maintained. Each year we send 100 million for the parish. If you get the 1 million, you can buy some goats, you can buy some pigs, you can buy even young cows.
Farmers are transitioning from subsistence farming to commercial agriculture, laying the groundwork for wealth creation and improved livelihoods.
This project started 11 years ago after an inspiration from His Excellency. And that time I was working as a taxi driver. I was doing that Massa business in Soroti, and he was talking about how to improve household income.
With the PDM, you bring back the money after 24 months, but in the 3rd year, you would get another 100 million paid back by those who got first.
The President's message is a mindset changer. Becoming rich does not mean you should have a lot of land, you should have a lot of education, you just need a vision and implement and start from where you are.
So therefore, this PDM is to get all of you out of poverty. That's why we said 100 million per parish per year.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Welcome to UBC TV, and the show is Good Morning Uganda. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. It's time for the agenda, and we're looking at an update that we gave you earlier on this morning of the Executive Director of Kampala City Authority, Sharifa Buzeki, who carried out an inspection of ongoing road construction works in the city, expressing concern over delays, poor drainage and sanitation challenges affecting several areas in the Central Division. Now, the KCCA inspection of roads in Central Division began at Lower Kololo Terrace Road, where asphalt laying is currently underway. And the Executive Director, Sharifa Buseki, later moved with a team of engineers and contractors to inspect works on areas Nkoyoyo Road, Church Lane, and Nava Road. Now, several of the inspected areas were found to be in poor condition, with open culverts, blocked drainage channels, open sewers, and an unbearable stench. And the situation has been worsened by delays in construction works, which have left roads exposed and vulnerable to dirt and debris. And therein, uncontrolled dumping of rubbish by residents has further compounded the problem, with waste flowing freely on the unfinished roads due to poor drainage. Now, we do have the spokesperson of the KCCA, that is Noabine Daniel, to speak with us on this matter, but of course to give us an update on the state of the different road constructions going on in the city. Good morning, Noabine.
Yes, very good morning, Nantaba.
Pleasure having you on board.
It's a great pleasure to be here to update my fellow citizens, our fellow citizens and dwellers of the city of what is happening within our gallant city.
Right. Let's start off with that very story right there, where the Executive Director inspected the road constructions going on. Just paint a detailed picture and experience of what the ED found on ground from her inspections.
Well, first of all, it's important to note that we have a number of road upgrade projects. We have 2,104 kilometers of city roads, of which only 770 are paved, or what we call tarmac with chorus. What an ordinary person would say chorus, it's stuck. Now, we need to catch up. We need to have that gap between 770 and 2,100 bridged. To do that, we have government has embarked on extensive revamping of city roads. Now, some of the have the Kampala City Roads Rehabilitation is doing the roads like Salama Road, where we have Ugolobi, the road to Ugolobi, that is Spring Road, where we have the Saapolo Kagwaz. That is a project that is ongoing. Then we have those roads under the GKMA, which include the Rashid Kamisis, Kataremwa, among others. Then we have the Government of Uganda project, where we are also revamping 85 kilometers of city roads, but we have started with a component of 14 kilometers, which is being implemented by DOT services. Now, yesterday, the Executive Director went round to see, especially those that are being implemented by our friends, DOT services. Yes, progress. However, there was dissatisfaction on a few fronts. For example, the quality. You see, a road should not only be good to the technical, but it should also be good and who is going to use it. There are issues like ducts, for example. We are tired of digging up roads to pass utility lines. And this calls for a new intervention of having ducts by the roadside that can bring all the wires from the air or from the sky into the ground, so that we have better aesthetics of our city. And so to avoid the over digging up. So The executive director wants bigger ducts because a city that is growing, we're a city where we cannot afford to plan for 5 years. We are planning for 50 years, such that those who will come after us will extend that planning period. So she wanted to have safety and ensure safety of both the workers of the contractor as well as the public. That means manholes or drainage openings must be kept safe, not with just step, but also be covered where necessary. If it is a construction site, it ought to remain clean. It doesn't matter that work is ongoing and then you don't desilt or remove the soil that would have gotten into the drainage culverts. Now, that which remains in there, once we open up this road, once we complete the construction, it means that mud, that soil, is going to clog somewhere in the drainage system. So the drainages must remain clean. But that having been seen, observed, as well as the delays, because some of these are a little bit behind schedule. We could say that we had a period where people were electioneering. We had a period of utility transfers, because utility transfers is also a major aspect that may cause delays in construction. Utilities, what are we talking about? We're talking about water lines. Those are lines manned by National Water and Sewerage Corporation. We are talking about sewage lines that have to be moved but allow construction to continue such that service is not interfered with while the construction is ongoing. So the movement of those lines, electricity lines, then we also have data and telecoms, all of whom have utilities that need to be transferred out. Utility transfer has been a major issue. We are very thankful to the people of Kampala for the provision of right-of-way, because some people would say that we need money to give you a piece of our land. But these have accepted for us to continue the construction without compensation. And there are those that had gotten into the road reserves. Some others had actually constructed into the road irregularly, especially in the humble areas of Chisenyi, where we have the church lane and church-to-church road. Those had, and the Risankoyo road, there had been some illegal constructions and illegal connections to sewer lines that posed a threat. But by and large, we are promising the public that we must deliver on these kilometers that we are working on. We have 85 kilometers under the government of Uganda funding, and these have to be delivered. We have 70 kilometers under KCRRP, including Chitezi. These have to be delivered. We have under GKMA 19 kilometers that are underway. We have a few more kilometers coming up under the Chorus project. So we have over 200 kilometers to add on to the 790 in order to improve our road network that is paved. Now, once we improve the road network that is paved, it means the travel time on the roads of Kampala will reduce. We are currently at 4 minutes per kilometer, and over the next 5 years, we expect to get to 3 minutes per kilometer while you're traversing the city. But by and large, the city is growing, Kampala is growing, and I believe Uganda is equally growing.
All right. Thank you for that detailed picture that you've painted indeed. And in there, you also talked about the progress points that were taken note of during the ED's visit. Please do share some of those progresses that you took note of.
Well, one of the major progresses is that the drainage on the roads under construction has been worked upon. We now have a better flow of storm water. That is why the flash floods are reducing and have significantly reduced. The roads that we are constructing are not just roads for vehicles. These are roads for people. Everyone, if you are in a vehicle, you'll use that road. If you are a pedestrian, there is a provision for a walkway for you. If you are cycling, there is a provision for a cycling lane. So they are roads for people, and they also are meant to enhance safety while on the roads. How? By provision of street lights, such that we don't stop work or we don't cease movement because it is dark. They must be light throughout the night. So the roads we are constructing have safety features, provision, that is provision for pedestrians, provision for cyclists, provision for lighting in the night, provision for drainage, and a provision for utility lines like telecoms, water, and sewage, as well as electricity.
Right. Now, you talked about time frames. What exact time frames are we expected to look at for this whole project between the start, when it started, and when it gets finished altogether?
Well, we have split our constructions into much smaller projects, much smaller works, to allow, one, for local content, and two, for speed execution of work, as well as allowing for many more players to get part of the government investment or the government works or cake, for that matter. Now, most of the projects that we are having don't exceed 18 months.
Right.
So if you count from July, when some of these started, 18 months, that would be a year and a half. We expect that...
At an update of the road constructions going on in the city and the roads altogether in the city. It's an update he's giving us, basing on the inspection that was carried out by the Executive Director, Sharifa Buzeki, yesterday, where she inspected the road constructions on there and had her own findings. Indeed, as you've rightly heard, the spokesperson has stated the challenges or incompleteness that was found on ground, but also stated the progress that has taken shape thus far. Feel free to ask your question, share your opinion on 0709-602-592 so that you are responding to effectively and definitely from the horse's mouth. Now, Nwabine, let's look at quality control. What quality control measures does the KCCA have in place to ensure that the roads are constructed with the high expected standard, but also will be durable enough? As you've said, indeed, you're not just looking at 5 years, you're looking at 50 years.
Well, the roads that we are constructing, especially those where we are contracting service providers, we have both the contractor, the person who actually does the manual work, the laying of the asphalt, the digging of the drainage, and all that. Then we have a supervising firm or a supervising contractor. Now, this one is supposed to be the eye of the institution on the works that are being done, to make sure that the contractor is following the designs, to make sure that if there are any deviations or any upgrades of the design, they are implemented, to make sure that what is contracted is what is executed. So we have that layer of inspection. Then we have our own engineers within the institution who give another eye. And then, of course, these routine inspections by the executive director, by the political wing, and by other government officials who pick interest. But what I must state, Nantaba, is that we are not just employees of KCCA. We are also citizens. And this is what the executive directors preached to us. We are not just employees of KCCA, we are also citizens who must guard and protect every government investment that has been put into the city, that is being put into our country. A road should not only look good or seem good on paper, but as a citizen, am I satisfied that the work that has been done is of the right standard? As an employee, the work that has been done, would I do the same with my hard-earned money in my home? If in my home I cannot put a substandard paver with my hard-earned money, why would I put a substandard, or why would I allow a substandard paver to be used on a public road? So what is good for me, what is best for me at the best cost or at the best value for money should be what I emphasize for my city, for my country, at the best value for money. So once we get out of here, we should be able to say that while I was in KCCA, we made that road and we made it perfectly. We made that walkway and we made it perfectly. So the supervision is at technical level, it is at the administrative level, it is at political, and it is at mindset, civic mindset of both employees and the citizenry. That is why if you saw the comments that have come out so far out of that inspection, the public is giving its feedback, and we are getting opinions and alternative views from engineers out there, making the citizens part of the development of the city, and we actually listen. We actually listen, and we ask the engineers to explain what they are bringing to us to make sure that the city gets the value for money for the taxpayers' penny that is being invested.
Right. Let me read a comment from Phillips, who's watching from Karamoja, and him stating his 2 cents here. He says, "Good morning, Julie. The problem we face in Uganda is policy implementation and the ethical principles that engineers don't follow. If time is allocated for particular work to be completed, why does it take so long? Kickback issues." So he says. And he says that no difference here in Karamoja. Grading of the road to be completed in a month takes half a year. Maram is poured on the road and stays on it without spreading over for a month. Culverts are thrown along the road bridges but remain for the whole year or years without being built. As a result, accidents, worse roads are dug into valleys with high banks, which are risk of accidents, and when it rains, the roads turn into rivers or swamps. Engineers look over. And he says, Oma, Uganda. And he says again, the problem is supervising projects to ensure quality controls. Do engineers do this? If so, why do such problems occur? Now, in the spirit of that particular comment, and I love the fact that you talked about the comments that you're receiving, the feedback that you're receiving, and of course making consultations from expert engineers there and there. From a perspective of your desk, could you just paint a picture of what type of feedback you are receiving and how you're handling it?
Well, one, I would like to appreciate my brother from Karamoja, but Karamoja is wide. I don't know the specific place. However, thank you for listening in and for raising these comments. You see, government has been citizen-centered or is citizen-centered. Now, if we do not listen to the public, if we do not feel the public's pain, then we shall have a painful day in office. People shall throw stones at us. People shall pelt insults at us. Now, the good thing is that we have had the policy, or we have adopted the policy of transparency in our works. We publish the jobs, we publish the scope, and even when we are inspecting, we have the cameras there because we don't have anything to hide. So while doing that, whatever we have skipped our eye internally, or where compromise, it is most unlikely, but in the case that the devil has tempted somebody internally, then the public eye will surely not be as tempted, because the desire of the public is a good road, the desire of the public is good services, the desire of every citizen is an amiable environment in their city. Now, people have responded to the videos, the news that has gone out, and where the explanations don't make sense, people are making sense out of them. And all these comments, we shall pick them, we are picking them, we are categorizing them, we are sieving them out and subjecting them to technical discussions. And I can tell you, there are some areas where we were and the same comments came up, and we adopted what came from technical people on the outside. So it's good that we are having this feedback. We are happy that it is coming through. We are processing it, and we are going to subject it to debate and discussion so that we have the best for the city.
Right. Thank you very much. You are watching UBC TV. This morning, we're having a conversation on an update of the roads in the city here in Kampala. Given the fact that the executive director of Kampala Capital City Authority, Sharifa Bozeki, carried out an inspection where she indeed guided on a lot. What she found faulty, she expressed, and what she appreciated, she found well done, she appreciated. And the spokesperson of the authority is speaking with us this morning and giving us that update, but as well taking in your feedback and speaking into it as it comes. 0709 602 592. Now, Nwabine, one of the pointers we did share at the start of this particular conversation was the uncontrolled dumping of rubbish by residents that indeed further compounded the problem and was seen and expressed by the executive director. How well are you helping residents within the city area manage rubbish? Because, I mean, if at all it was found dumped in drainage systems, that's uncouth, ideally. But what are the solutions? What idea is behind this getting into that point?
Well, indiscriminate dumping of garbage is bad manners. It is very bad manners. Even if you open a bottle and a bottle of water and peel off the seal and drop it down wherever you are, is very bad manners. Now, every weekend we go into the communities to ensure that we teach garbage segregation, waste management, and the government has been gracious to the people of Kampala. It has provided for a dump site, after a place where to manage waste after the Chitezi dilemma. Now, we have 230 acres of land in Buyara where we manage the waste. We have concessionaires who support us in waste management, because under the 2008 Solid Waste Management Ordinance, an urban dweller is supposed to contribute to the management of the waste that they generate. We have KCCA vehicles that collect waste from amongst the urban humble as well as public spaces like markets. Then we have our daily people, our daily colleagues that do the cleaning of city roads. Now the idea is there is someone to take your rubbish. And if there is someone to take your rubbish, then you must never dump that rubbish in a drainage or in the community, because it is you who lives in the community in the first place. Now, when we dump this garbage into our drainages, they block. And once they block, water stagnates. Once water stagnates, it smells, and it can also be a breeding area for bad insects or insects that can transmit disease, like mosquitoes, like flies that may cause diarrhea to people. So what are we doing? We are engaging communities, we are sensitizing them on waste segregation, on the need for a clean environment, and to hold on to their waste until the next truck comes. Of course, we are going to get into the step of apprehension, especially for the stubborn ones. For those within the city that keep dropping, you have seen our enforcement officers apprehending. But in the communities, we are working very closely with the local council chairpersons and the local council committees, as well as the environment officers, and also working through the VHTs, that is the village health teams that constitute the country's health center one, to ensure that we have a clean environment, to ensure that our communities are clean. And in those areas which come out and step out as dirty, then we move in and have an elaborate community engagement that allows us to impact on their minds on the need for a clean environment.
All right, let's get into some of the comments coming through. We do have one from Jacqueline, who says, hi, thanks for the good work. I stay on Salama Road and I can now proudly say I live there. I wonder the main road was worked on so well, but the roads that come inside the various homes are in dire state. Who is responsible for them and how best can we be helped? Over to you, Nwabin.
Well, thank you for the comment. Salama Road had been for a long time a menace to the people who come from that part of the city, but it now takes you about 7 to 10 minutes from Chibuye to Munyonyo. It is true we have feeder roads that link on to the main roads like Salama Road at Mswangari and many of the people who have constructed in there. Now, our plan is to do those smaller feeder roads through them being maintained and through working on the drainages. The resource envelope is not necessarily big, but the major ones, the major accesses, we try to ensure that they are worked upon as we go on to accumulate resources, work on those smaller community roads. However, we also call upon the public, especially those that have properties that are generating revenue, to promptly pay their property rates, because it is money that we collect from such revenue contributions that also supports the development of these areas. But we have it in plan to make sure that at least the city by 2030 is 87% paved.
All right. Good morning, UBC and the KCCA. I am Joseph from Bukunja. I'd like to ask the gentleman talking that when will KCCA start doing standard roads where the rainwater, clean water, sewage, electricity and telephone line is all given provision, but every time that digging and blocking traffic is very inconvenient. Thank you. And the gentleman we are speaking to is Nwabine Daniel, who is the spokesperson of the KCCA. Over to you, Nwabine.
Well, thank you for that and the desire for good things. We have already started doing that. Like I said, a standard KCCA road now must have the paved area for the vehicle. It must have a drainage provision for stormwater. It must have a walkway for the pedestrian. It must have ducts for utilities. It must have light, or call it street lights, and it must be well marked for safety. That is a standard KCCA road or a standard urban road. And That is what we are committed to delivering, and we shall deliver it.
All right. Another question comes through, and it says, "Good morning, Julie. Ask Daniel, who is in charge of Sentibali Kudembe, formerly known as Owino Chizito." This is Chizito Joseph on Sentema Road, especially with the garbage.
But we have cleared. We have put measures to ensure that Sentibali Kudembe market. Sentibali Kudembe is the biggest market, I think, in Uganda, and we have ensured that we provide for immediate evacuation of garbage from that market. But what the public should also note is that Sentibali Kudembe is largely a fresh foods market. And 85% of the garbage generated there is from agricultural products, because we have not, as a country and as a people, started the processing or engaged more in the processing of our foods. Matoke, we get it with its peelings. Cassava, we get it with its peelings. And even Ogoya, we even add additional protection to make sure it gets here smooth. Now, all that is what constitutes the garbage that is generated in most of our markets. But despite all that, we make sure that that garbage or that waste is cleared by 8 o'clock in the morning. There may be instances like on market days. We have agricultural market days in these markets. We have them on Wednesday in Nakasero, Thursday in Sentibali Kudembe. That is when we may have some excessive waste that is generated. But within 1 hour of daylight, we usually have cleared that waste and evacuated it to where it's supposed to be.
All right, and with many of the comments coming through, it seems garbage and waste is such a problem. So allow me ask this, one of the final questions as we begin to roll out this carpet. They said that can urban authorities start training the staff on garbage management, because dumping of garbage in every town and city, there are employed staff like law enforcement officers, town clerks and their deputies, etc. Business communities pay taxes that could be used in helping clearing garbage from accumulating, but it looks like we keep having more garbage increasing. So the question is, can urban authorities like the KCCA start training their staff on managing this issue?
That work in authorities are already trained. I think the real question is, can we call upon the citizens? Can we get the citizenry to change their mindset that it is government or it is urban authorities that must ensure their cleanliness? Cleanliness must come from ourselves. If you wake up in the morning and you know you must wash your face, if you get into your house, some people get into the house and the first thing is remove their shoes. If you know that your compound must be swept, if you know that the litter in your house should not go in the carpet in your sitting room, then why would you throw a bottle on the tarmac of a road or in a green space?
Right.
It makes no sense whatsoever. So it's about mindset change. And we are out to make sure that we change the perception that it is government. Recently, the First Lady, while at a rally in Kawempe, the First Lady said, and I believe she was quoting one of the American presidents, that ask not what your government can do for you, but what can you do for your government? Now, as a citizen, the first thing you must do for your government is to make sure that the area in which you are is clean, is safe, and then you continue with the other duties like paying tax.
Right. Now, in just a minute, this final question is definitely away from the road constructions going on, but it's still an issue rising, or one that is of concern within the city. Lately, traffic lights theft at the traffic lights is increasing, especially at hotspots like the Lugogo bypass during the wee or late hours of the night. How best is the authority looking forward to handling this particular issue?
Well, and thank you for that. We have installed and we are still installing lights along our streets for safety. Now, any citizen that is blocking those lights is a criminal. So we are calling upon the communities in which we operate for people protect this infrastructure, because it is your infrastructure, it is your lights, it is your safety. And once we achieve that, then our lights will be safe. One, don't buy a light that is stolen. Two, be your neighbor's keeper. You watch whatever is being installed by the government. And once you do that, then we shall have these lights there, but also putting in place mechanisms of making it very, very unattractive for anyone to steal a light, for anyone to take a light off the street without being caught. We are working with the police, we are working with the community scouts. We are also making the material with which we are making these poles, with which we are making these lights unmarketable or of little value, if sold, such that the effort that one takes to remove a light and take it to the market is not profitable. So one, making them unprofitable, engaging the communities, teaching the community that what they are not looking after is their own. And lastly, is you, the media, to constantly tell the public to protect their gains.
All right. Very well noted. Thank you very much, Nwabine Daniel. He is the spokesperson of the KCCA, and he's been speaking with us, giving us an update of the conditions in the city, especially in regards to the road constructions that are going on. And that brings us to the end of this particular conversation. Good morning, Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Ginshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala.